Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Amanda, aka Fit Food AE, and I have two questions for you guys. I'm wondering if November 15th is too early to have your Christmas decorations up, or if I'm on par with the rest of you guys. Honestly, the sun has been setting at like 4 or 4:30, and I really needed a boost of serotonin with the 8 hours of sunlight I'm getting per day. My second question is, have you tried popcorn tofu? Or do you even know what that is? I have a feeling that most of you won't, but basically it's like the KFC popcorn chicken, but in a version that us vegetarians and vegans can eat. But if you aren't vegetarian or vegan, I don't want you to click off this video because this recipe is still gonna be delicious. So this recipe is vegan, however, there is a modification using this protein powder that contains milk, but that modification will add a bit more protein to the recipe. So if you're excited to see me make this recipe and use up your block of tofu, please give this video a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends as it really helps the channel. And without further ado, let's get started making the recipe. So the first thing you're gonna do is freeze the tofu, which I know sounds weird, but it gives it sort of like a meaty type texture. It really helps, trust me. So put it in the freezer and just freeze it overnight. And then in the morning, you're gonna take it out and defrost it. Now for me, it took around 3 hours to defrost, but I would leave maybe like 4 hours just in case. If you're in a pinch or you completely forget to defrost it, it's totally fine. You could just put it in the microwave, put it in for 2 minutes, and then check after that. Maybe just put it in for 1 minute increments after, just to see how long it takes to defrost, because it's gonna depend on your microwave. By the way, you're doing all of this while the tofu is still in the packaging. And again, if you wanna make this recipe like today and you don't have time to freeze the tofu, it'll still work. It just might be a bit of a different texture. Next thing you're gonna do is press and drain the tofu. Now, some people do this with like a fancy tofu press, or they put like a textbook on it to get the moisture out. As you can see here, I'm just using a bunch of paper towels and then pressing onto the tofu as if I'm giving it CPR. It looks weird, but it works. Like, this is how I've been pressing my tofu for, I don't know, as long as I've been vegetarian, 7 years, 8 years. So once the tofu is pressed and drained completely, just grab a plate and then grab a paper towel to put the tofu on top. And then you're just gonna break it up into chunks. So as you can see here, I'm breaking it up into like different sized chunks. It's supposed to represent like nuggets. Maybe do some large, some medium, but don't do them too small. Otherwise, it's just gonna be hard to put the batter on them, and it's just gonna take too long because there's gonna be too many nuggets. For this next step, make sure you have 3 clean bowls. So the first bowl, we're gonna add some unsweetened almond milk. Of course, you could add any plant-based milk. This is just the lowest calorie one. And then you're gonna add a teaspoon of vinegar. So you can use white vinegar like I did. You can add apple cider vinegar. You could even use lemon juice if you don't have vinegar. I personally hate the smell of vinegar. I had to like hold my breath throughout this whole step. I don't know why, I just can't stand it. Then you're just gonna whisk that together with a fork or an actual whisk. I do have an actual whisk, I just don't know where it went. Fork's the easiest and most accessible option. So for this next step, you have 2 options. One of them is vegan and one of them is not vegan. The first option is to use Science multi-purpose protein powder. So this is unflavored protein powder. It's basically like high protein flour. It has 23 grams of protein per 1 serving size, so 110 calories. If you wanna purchase this, I highly recommend it. Please use my discount code FIT15 or the link in my bio. But otherwise, if you don't have this on hand, or if you're vegan, you could just use all-purpose flour in place of it. Next, you're gonna add a couple spices. So I used garlic powder and salt. And then you're just gonna mix all that together. Now in the third bowl, you're gonna add your breadcrumbs. So these are the ones that I used. These are Panko. They are vegan, so they're great if you're vegan and making this recipe. Otherwise, I'm sure there's alternatives out there or anything you have on hand. So as you can see here, we have all 3 bowls, and then we have our tofu cut into chunks on this plate, and then another plate next to it. And now you're gonna work like a machine, and you're gonna coat all the pieces of tofu like I'm doing here. So basically what I do is I grab the chunk of tofu, dip it in the unsweetened almond milk, dip it in the Science protein powder or all-purpose flour, dip it back in the almond milk, dip it in the breadcrumbs, and then put it on the plate. So each time you dip it in the unsweetened almond milk, make sure to give it a little shake so that the unsweetened almond milk doesn't get in the other 2 bowls too much and doesn't get clumpy. And when you're coating the tofu and the toppings, make sure to roll it around so the whole piece is covered to the best of your ability. You can even use your fingers to like take some of the breadcrumbs and like sprinkle it on top. If you need to, of course, you can just add more of the breadcrumbs or the protein powder and then just factor that into the macros, but the measurements that I indicated should be enough. They were enough for me. Is this step tedious? Yes. Is it gonna take a while? Yes. But is it worth it? Absolutely yes. No, but seriously, it probably shouldn't take you more than like 30 minutes. I don't know, I was going kind of slow. I feel like people can do it faster than that. It also depends on how many chunks of tofu you have. So now that we're finally all done, we're gonna pop these into the air fryer. And we're done. I like to pair these with ketchup and mustard, but of course you can pick any sauces that you want. Of course, both the ketchup and mustard are needed for this taste test. These are so good. Like, I don't really remember what chicken tastes like, but I feel like this is as close as you're gonna get. Correct me if I'm wrong, but these are so good. The texture is fantastic. The ingredients in this recipe are so minimal. Like, besides the pea-science protein, if you swap it for flour, you probably have all the ingredients just like lying around your house if you're a vegan or vegetarian. Freezing the tofu really gives it like a meaty texture, which is great. Do you like ketchup better or mustard, or do you like both? Comment below, I wanna know. Well, I'm gonna finish eating like half of this batch before I go to the gym. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you did like this recipe, then I'm sure you're gonna like my other ones. So be sure to check out the videos that are gonna pop up on the screen. And please give this video a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends, as it really helps the channel. And with that, I will see you guys next time. Bye.